What do you want to accomplish? Nobody says that now. They're like, should we use Twitter? Should we use Instagram? Should we use Snapchat? Should we use Facebook? Should we use LinkedIn? There's like 16 other ones I can use right now. Instead of saying, what do you want to gain from this? Everybody has a limited amount of time and money. What are you going to do with those resources? And then create a plan. And don't jump around like a Jack Russell frickin' terrier to platform to platform to platform. You confuse the marketplace, you confuse your customers, and you get nothing done.
From Toronto, PHANTA Media presents the Not So Corporate Podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm your host, Mark Drager of the Not So Corporate Podcast. I'm joined here in studio with Leah Earle.
Hello.
And Roland Echeverria.
Hello.
And listen, we have a super special episode. We have a very special guest. I'm excited that coming up on the line, we're going to have Scott Stratten on. And he's a keynote speaker. He's a writer. He's been in the marketing industry for a really long time. You guys may know him from UnMarketing. Is the company, is the books he's written, the UnMarketing. And he's the host of the UnPodcast, which is a really successful, popular podcast on iTunes and on YouTube. And he comes on the line, and we are going to talk to him about like him, I guess, like you know, like what he does as a podcaster, his take on marketing, what's happening in the industry. We're excited. Like
millennials, social media.
We put together a list of people that we'd like to reach out and talk to, and I had a whole bunch. When people find out we have a podcast, people say like, "Oh, you should have this person on or that person on. You know, you should have Adobe or you should have these people," and Scott comes up a lot. He's kind of local to us. We all live kind of in the Toronto area. You know, we're kind of on the same scale, right? Like we run our podcast, and we're on like episode 31 now, and he has like whatever hundreds. But you know, we have our loyal group of listeners on iTunes and Facebook and YouTube, and he has like 200,000 Twitter followers and like a crazy amount of people who listen to his podcast. So we're kind of like, you know, equals, right, Leah?
Yeah, like a weird uncle and a normal person. I don't know.
Am I the weird uncle?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we're the weird uncle.
Yeah.
So it's more like cousins, right? Like, you know, you're all of the same family, but someone's like way more successful.
Yeah, you're like the not successful cousin. But you're still doing pretty good.
Hence the Not So Corporate
Thank
Podcast.
you for that. Anyway, I'm super excited to get him on the line. So let's go.
Let's do this.
So as I mentioned in the intro, we're joined with Scott Stratten, and he has become the guru when it comes to marketing, but not really marketing. So listen, Scott, thanks so much for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And let me, if I can, just start off. It seems like so much of what you do, of what you've built, of who you've become, of the message you preach is really based on kind of just breaking it down to common sense. And so one, I hear sometimes what you're talking about and I'm like, doesn't everybody get it? Like it just seems so obvious. And then other times I know because you're quite successful at what you do, like literally you're groundbreaking to some corporate kind of mindsets. Do you find that what you're doing is like, do you think of yourself as just kind of like a really common sense practitioner, or is there more secret sauce to this?
I'm so lucky that common sense ain't so common, or I don't have a business. I'm honestly, it's like looking around and saying, why aren't we just doing this? Why aren't we just doing? We tend to overcomplicate things, and there's a few reasons usually why that happens, and one of the reasons is, especially in marketing, is we want to overcomplicate it. Therefore, people can't do something without us. So you have to do this 12-step strategy, and obviously you can't do it yourself, so you're going to have to hire me, the consultant, or anything else to do it. And so, because I know that because I did it, you know, that was my job as consulting. It's like a doctor or something like that or a chiropractor who doesn't want to fix you totally because they want you to keep coming back. Well, that's a marketer. That's the business. We're the business chiropractors. You know, we want to make you feel better, but you're not fixed, and that was the issue. I think we tend to overcomplicate it because we also makes us sound smart. You know, if I walk up to somebody and say, "What's your Snapchat strategy for Q2 of 2016?" and you know, what are your key indicators? And I'm like, I'm not even speaking English right now. Like it sounds great, and that was the issue. And this is why I came up with that term UnMarketing almost 15 years ago. It's just me looking around saying, is anybody else paying attention here? Like, why aren't we just doing this or just doing this? And so it's true that I do look around saying, I don't know how you don't know this. Like I do all I do is talks now. All I do is keynotes, and I sit there and I say something, and people start applauding. I'm like, man, wow, this is just so simple. And sometimes you need that though, and like in this day and age, especially of the new thing every week coming out there, that you know, just what platform do you need to be on now? What thing do you have to be doing now? What new algorithm is happening in the EdgeRank world of Facebook's news feed? Sit back and say, well, no, that's why we actually created a new title of a talk. It says everything is different. Everything has changed and nothing is different. That's the title. And that's the point, which means simmer down for a second, step back and say, you know, who are our customers? Who's our target? Where are they? And where do we want to be? Do we want to be in front of them? And that's the problem is when I say create a good product, provide a good service, and then give good service after the purchase, that's not sexy. That's not exciting. That doesn't sell books. So you have to throw it around there and you have all these crazy new things coming out. And really, like you go back to the first book, UnMarketing is me just smacking people upside the head and saying, just stop. Just stop being hypocritical. Stop marketing the way you don't want to be marketed to, and provide something that sells itself.
You know, so in our own business, and you know, on past episodes of the podcast, we've talked about just simple lead generation strategies. If you're a small business, you don't have a lot of budget, where do you get started? And you know, we've grown our business through a lot of our own marketing efforts. And early on, well, maybe not early on, maybe 3 years ago, someone who's helping me with lead generation said, okay, you're currently generating all the leads you can generate through AdWords. So you can't get any more impressions right now. You can't get any more clicks. So all we can do now is try and take our current bag of leads and try remarketing to them. And I go, oh, that makes sense. And then we go, okay, well, where does that naturally take us? And it takes us to, you know, drip marketing campaigns through HubSpot integration, or remarketing, or all these really bigger, complex things that all made sense to me. And I went, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Great. We need to be doing that. We need to be savvy. We need to be cutting edge. And then we did it for a year, and we spent, you know, like $30,000 trying stuff, and there was no ROI. It didn't work, and all of the time and money we put into being really savvy and smart, we had to ignore, you know, our standard newsletter, communicating to our current clients, following up with calls. Like, we were busy being awesome, which didn't pay an ROI, and we didn't have enough time to do the basic things. And I said, this is BS. Like, we need to go back to just doing simple really, really well. And when we've perfected simple, let's go complicate it later. But right now, let's just do simple really, really well. And then we started sharing that with our clients, and some people get it, and other people don't. I don't know, you know, I don't know how to fill, I don't know how we can fill as marketers and creative people that gap between selling. Like, guys, you're not even doing simple well, so let's just start with that, because that will revolutionize your business.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about your Instagram strategy when you won't answer an email.
Right, or your receptionist doesn't pick up the phone in an orderly way, or you don't respond. You don't have a great response time on sales, or you don't have even a strong sales strategy where you measure each step of retention, or what have you.
And the problem is we go after and we start looking for where's our lead base, and again, marketing and remarketing and trying to find that new client. When everybody knows, talking about common sense, everybody knows in every single industry. I'm talking everything from video to a barber shop to illegal heroin sales. I don't care what it is. Your current clients are your number one source of new clients. Is that not the most non-earth-shattering statement ever said?
Roland is literally high-fiving people around the table right now.
Right, but isn't that but I said it in a way, so when I say that at a conference and I say that, I'm like, you're number one, and they're like, oh yeah! They're all just like jumping up and clapping and hallelujahing. Like, I just said a statement that's 73 years old. And they're like, but they don't hear it. They're like, yes, so should we go on Snapchat? Like, did you hear what you just said? Are your clients currently being overserviced? Are they ecstatic clients? But here's the thing. It's not actually your current clients or your biggest referrers, your biggest creation of new business. It's ecstatic current clients. It's the ones who are really happy with what they've gotten from you. are your biggest referrers, not just the fact you have clients. If they're not happy or they're discontent, it doesn't create referrals. It doesn't create active referrals. They don't go spread the gospel of you because of that. And that's the difference. And that is how you look at it and say, you take $30,000 that you spend. This is the amazing thing to me. Companies will do a marketing expenditure, and by the way, I benefited greatly from these expenditures and designs and ad spends, and wonderful. Keep doing it. But when I'm not making money from it now, it's a great way to tell the truth. So you look at it and say, well, $30,000, that's a part of expense, and we're trying to go, we'll do that. Yet we won't take that same capital, whether it's actual dollar capital or time capital, and say, why don't we go help out some charities, some nonprofits with their video needs? Let's go help them out. Let's see what we can do. That's how we found our video team for the UnPodcast. We've filmed 112 episodes so far. We rent a studio once a month in Burlington. We have an audio producer. We have Atomic Spark, who's a wonderful, Adam runs it, who runs the whole company, comes in. We do a 3-camera HD shoot every month now for over 2 years. And we've used this one company. How did we find them? Because they donated their time to a cause that we also believed in. We met them. We got to know them. Like, we like that guy. If we ever have a video need, we're going to use them. And boom, that's what happened. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So you got to get in front of those people. So instead of dropping $30,000 on an unproven lead nurturing system, potentially, get to know people, get in front of those people, get in front of those people who do referrals. And we've sent them everywhere to a bunch of people as well. Mm-hmm. I'm already furious, by the way. We're like 11 minutes into this, and I'm furious. So thank you.
You've built your career off of being really quiet and angry, though, right? I have to say, Leah sent me your little Toronto rant. Well, sorry, not little rant, but your rant about millennials from January of this year at a talk.
Yeah, I was like, check this out.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Check this out. He's funny, but technically, everyone sitting around the table here is a millennial. Although we're at the older age of them, but do you feel old? Do you ever feel old? Yeah.
God damn it! Every day, it's just like I don't know what day I realized it, but I realized 2 things. One, I'm dad jokes guy now. I went from being the funny guy to now literally dad jokes, and I'm also that creepy dude at the bar. Like, I'm on Snapchat. What am I doing there? What am I doing there? Why is a 40-year-old Snapchat? It's just weird. It's just, why would you do that? And I don't, UnMarketing, by the way, on Snapchat. I don't know why you do these things, because, so I do feel old. Like, I you know what? And I never felt old till 40. And that was this past year. I turned 40. I'm like, oof, well, here we go down the slope, down the other way now. So climbed up the hill 40 years, going back down now. And it's also fascinating. And it's also, I just think it's, one of the things that I realize, like, the millennial rant is simply a rant at people who are younger than me. And that's really and that's where the anger comes from with millennials. But here's the interesting fact about that clip, and the behind the scenes about a clip and a video and the effectiveness of it. I'm a keynote speaker. That's my job. That's what I do. That's how I make money. And the problem in my industry in speaking is a lot of speakers I just watched 3 terrible ones yesterday, because that's what I get joy out of in life, by the way. I'm sadistic. I like watching bad speaker videos. And that clip goes around and gets spread and goes, quote, viral. People share it. So, like, you guys shared it with each other, and it goes around. And you're probably never going to be booking me for a keynote speech, potentially. I'm not gonna go do somebody's barbecue in their backyard.
No, but we can get you for free on a podcast.
Exactly. But here's the thing. You just spread it. You may have spread it to somebody else, and eventually that gets in front of somebody else who may book me. And so I have, like, that rant. There's an older rant called QR Codes Kill Kittens that went bananas. It's like 160,000 views. I got 7 gigs out of that directly from that video, from people jumping from the video and calling us. And that to us, that's worth $20,000 a piece. So to look at that and say, okay, most speakers would put a little front end cheesy stock music at the front of the video, and the letters are coming in, and they come in and they start doing their talk, and it whips to a transition. The only people that watch that are people who are just fellow speakers, and people like me who want to laugh at it. And you would never, if that video of millennials of me had a cheesy opening to it and book Scott now and stuff like that, that would distract from the message. Mm-hmm. And you may not share it, or you may share it for the wrong reasons, like how ridiculous this is. So me just realizing that the content is king, that does more for me as a speaker than bundling it up and saying, this is the proper ad I should be doing, the proper demo reel, which is just notorious in my industry. And that video has gotten, and my cost is zero.
We had a really great guy on. Not to say you're not a great guy. You're a fantastic guy. But we had a great guy on last week who runs a blog called Motionographer, and we touched on it a little bit. And I'm wondering if in your career you ever felt that. But at a certain point, people pour into something because they're passionate. At least the successful ones in my mind, they're passionate about it. They would do it for free. They often start out that way, and then it kind of takes off and they get some traction. But at a certain point, there's almost a little bit of a feeling of being a fraud, I guess. Like
It's the imposter syndrome.
Right, exactly. Like what if everyone realizes that I talk a lot and people stand up and clap, but I don't actually do anything? Like, did you ever face that in your career? And if so, how did you get over that?
Well, first of all, motionographer is one of the best names I've ever heard of an industry. That's a great name, by the way, so kudos to that. And for me, I don't have imposter syndrome because I know I'm one.
So you just own it.
I'm a keynote speaker. My job isn't, I don't do a workshop. I don't do a 4-hour workshop, 23 takeaways. Let's work on this action items right now. I'm a performer. I'm a storyteller. I don't have that content. I don't have that huge thing. I don't work. This is the best thing I've ever said in my life. I don't work. I don't have a job. My job is to yell at people on stage. There is no substance in that. There is no proof in that. There is no content in that. And I do it really well. And I love it. And I retired 7 years ago. I haven't had a consulting client in 7 years ago. And people come to me and say, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't do any work. You're not in the field. And I'm like, why is the fact that I don't work negative? I don't work. I retired at 33. I love doing this. And I say nothing. I make people smile. I make them think. And I make them realize, you know what? We should probably stop being an idiot about that. And then they go off for the rest of their day. And they go do workshops and breakouts and everything else. And I set the tone. That's my job. I'm a storyteller. That is my job. And there's no need for it. And I'm comfortable with it. I have a man bun, for crying out loud. You think my biggest problem is what I'm saying on stage? You got to have confidence in that. I think I'm the best guy for the job. And I do one thing and I do it really well. And I get paid for it. And that's what I think. I love it. From 12 years old, I sat in my living room in Oakville watching a PBS feed from WNED Buffalo. And they were doing a pledge drive. And they were showing a Les Brown talk. He's a motivational speaker. And I'm watching it. I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And I looked at the TV and that's it. And you know what? I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now. How cool is that? That I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. And somebody can try to call me a fraud. No such thing in what I'm doing. I'm doing me. And it's so awesome.
So do you think, as you're talking, it struck me that we're perfectly comfortable, society. We're perfectly comfortable having editorialized commentary in tons of different things. Mm-hmm. No one, rags on anyone for anything. But you're telling me that people are coming up to you and kind of, tearing you down because you've built something up when you're not worrying about doing it day in and day out. But we don't need. I don't know what the example would be, but we don't need everyone on the football commentary to be a football player.
You're going with sports. You're going to go with.
I'm going to go with sports. Yeah, Let's go with that way.
This is your wheelhouse.
Let's go with the sports. Sports is my wheelhouse.
Let's do this.
I was going to go journalism. I was going to go journalism in a homeless shelter, but I went the sports route.
The only thing you know more about than sports.
Yeah. Let's do this. Yeah, sports analogies.
But you don't have to be the.
You don't rest of the show in sports analogies.
Awesome. So run with exactly. You know where I'm going with it. Run with it.
I have no idea where you're going with it. Just
no, I do. I totally understand because.
Well, why do we have to tear people down?
Some of the best football, some of the best baseball commentators have never stepped foot on the field.
Right.
And I get that. You can be a teacher, you can be a commentator, you can be any of those type of things. Is that I want intelligent commentary on something. And my job is I'm a verbal journalist. My job is to be able to say what I see and put an opinion on that. So I'm creating editorial based on what I see in the industry. And that's all I do. I sit back and watch things how they go. I see and I think of how they fit in, and then I tell people what I think. That's it. I'm a pundit. I'm a person that just says stuff from the balcony, and I'm okay with that. People are like, well, you should. I'm like, I was in the action. I ran an agency. I had one of the most successful viral video companies in the world years ago. Before broadband, before YouTube. We did flash slideshow videos. You remember those?
I do. One of my friends hired you guys for JCI. Right?
So you see what I mean? We made 60 of those. We had some of the most watched videos in the world back then. And I'm not going back to that. I don't want to.
I would not recommend you go back to Flash. I think it's dead. I think we can officially claim 2016 Flash is dead.
Yeah, it's hurting. Yeah, it's hurting. Which means realtors will start using it soon.
Well, no, the realtors won't get on it until the law firms have gotten on it.
That's true. In the order of industries.
Yeah, it's basically like early adopters, and then kind of weird financial institution kind of corporate people, and then pension plans, and then law firms, and then realtors.
But if you look at my talk, there's like 3 or 4 core stories in it, and then a bunch of jokes and stuff that weave in between. The only person there's 2 groups of people I actually care what they think: the client that booked me, and Allison, who's my wife, who's a co-author of the books, who's a co-host of the UnPodcast, who's my rock, and those are the 2 groups I care about. And I'd say our kids, but they just think I'm a jackass most of the time. So,
how old are your kids?
18, 14, 13, 12, and 9.
You have 5 kids?
Yeah, Alice and I merged families a few years ago, so it was like a hostile takeover merger thing.
I know you guys went on a Disney cruise. Did you take all of them?
We're going tomorrow.
Oh, you're going tomorrow. Okay.
Our 4th one.
Wow. Are they good? Like we're talking about either doing Disney in Orlando with our whole family, like my sister and her kids, and I have 4 kids, and like our whole family in Orlando, or the Disney cruise, or maybe a combo. What would you recommend?
Have you ever had a dream where everything in the world is wonderful? Because that's what the cruise is.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say, yes, I did, and that's a week alone without my...
No, it's glorious. And this is like, I am like the biggest salesperson for Disney cruises, and I get no cut whatsoever. And
not yet.
Here's the amazing thing. So 5 years ago, here's a great little insight into the world of social and influencers and everything else. So 5-6 years ago, when Twitter just goes kaboom and everybody is like, oh God, we're going to be on it. And I'm leading the charge in Canada. I'm like one of the top influencers in the country. And it's like, if it wasn't for Bieber, I'm like number 1. And so we're flying through it and everybody's like, Scott, we want you to do this. And I'm telling you, I got paid $30,000 to tweet about ice cream. I'm not kidding. Magnum ice cream paid $30,000 for me to tweet about it and eat ice cream. Greatest day of my life. So, and Disney comes and says, you're a media, you're an influencer. We'd like to bring you on the the first sailing of the Disney Dream, their new ship. And I'm like, yep, okay. So we brought down my 2, so Owen and Aiden, the 2 oldest boys, and Allison was able to bring down 1 kid. Like they're like, you have to pick. It's like Hunger Games. You got to pick 1 kid or 2 kids. So we go down to it. We do the inaugural sailing. It's 3 days. Not long enough, but we try it. We've never been cruise people. I'm not that person. And we go down. And it's awesome. And ever since then, we've paid full price for these cruises. And they're the greatest thing ever. We're going to go for 8 days, 7 nights. And we head down tomorrow to go to Animal Kingdom and Disney for a couple days. And then we're going to go on the cruise. And it is the greatest thing ever. The kids, I don't know if they're on the ship half the time. They're gone. And we have to make dinner mandatory just so we can say hi. Because they love it so much. The kids' clubs are segmented by age, and there's a basketball court up top, and they just go. They have ship phones, if we're going to call them. We have 2 places we are. We're on the deck watching the Disney movies over, in the ocean with the sun on us, or in the room on our balcony. And so the kids know where we are. The food is bananas good. And then the waiters follow you to each restaurant each night. They know what you like. We get 2 rooms because there's so many of us, and they open up the veranda partitions. We have a giant veranda. It's amazing, dude. We will re-up. We booked this year's cruise on last year's cruise. That's how good it is. And yeah, and Disney itself is great too. But it's hard to do Disney World when you've done the cruise, because Disney World, you got lineups and there's stuff, and I love it too. And the kid, you got to go, especially once in your life, and you got to bring your rite of passage as a parent is to bring your kid to Disney World once, and
pay for a $20 balloon
and pay for ridiculous amounts of things. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get into what the room we paid for in 3 nights, but it's ridiculous and it's amazing. Like our room looks over the safari.
Well, now I have super high expectations because I know that, you even said earlier that you were already angry 11 minutes in. I know that that you have a pretty high bar, so now you've built up my expectations huge.
I'm really glad that we had Scott on so that you could ask him what vacation plans you and your children should take.
Well, listen.
I mean,
I said early
solved.
on that the whole podcast is just so I could talk to people I want to talk to and ask them the questions I want to ask them. I got to get them their guard down by talking about work and business, and then you hit the hard questions.
Cruise.
Right,
How's
you
the
softball
Disney
all the
cruise?
other ones,
Yeah.
and then you find out like, hey, where's the best place to vacation? Like, what kind of car do you drive? Do you, I picture him as a BMW guy. He probably goes to Bud's in Oakville, but I don't know.
You pulled Buds out of there. Well done. We drive a Volvo.
Oh wow,
Nice and safe.
Hey,
Yeah.
bingo. See, you gotta go with that family hook.
yeah. Are you
family?
a cross country kind of guy, like an XC70?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, nice. They're really nice.
We used to have
What color, Mark?
We used to have the dark blue. We used to have the older one with the back-facing seats.
Yeah, those were cool. I have a friend who lives in Wales who was a Volvo dealer or salesperson for like years and years. So they always had the diesels over there, which are nice. But he sold me on Volvos being cool, but I've never been able to justify the price.
Well, and that's the thing is, well, for us, like, and
See, Lee, I can also talk about cars. So
Yeah.
but for us, like, we had the choice, right? That we have to be able to get 7 of us around, and
That's true.
town and country,
That's-
buddy. Town and country.
You're just like you're within arm's length of a bus, maybe wheel trans, maybe something about a bus at least. Like you're gonna be.
Full size Suburban is pretty bus territory, I'd say.
I don't want to drive around. I don't want to drive a tank, and that's the problem. And so you balance it all out, and I'm sitting in the front room in our library of the house because it's East Oakville, so you have to have a library. And I'm sitting in the house that we bought because of doing keynotes and doing like our business. And then we bought the car, and we bought a used Volvo that's like 9 years old. We bought it for cash, and they're a beast. They'll last forever. And that's the thing is what's your priorities? Our priorities is going on a cruise every year with the kids, having something to remember from that, and an old car. Like that's not what gets us going. I wanted to do it. So it's it's where you want to spend your money and use it for sure.
Well, 2 questions I like to ask people. So forgive me if you get hit with them all the time, but I'm always interested in more in people's motivations and operating philosophies rather than just tactical things. I think tactical things are just it's a to-do list, but why someone does something is much more interesting to me. So 2 questions: what really kind of pisses you off, and what keeps you up?
Bullies piss me off, and people who bully in any sort of fashion. So it's in business or online or kids or anything else. And people find that funny because I'm angry all the time. And I get angry because I'm passionate about things and I want to stand up for things. And what keeps me up at night is being relevant. Huge. My biggest fear in life and in my business is being viewed as irrelevant. That's because that's all I have. If I'm not viewed as, my opinion is not viewed as relevant, I don't get booked. I don't speak. Nobody listens to the show. And
so how do you balance the newest philosophy, like everyone today is like, be yourself, stand for something. Those who like you will gravitate towards you. Those who don't like you won't. How do you live in that uber confident world of putting yourself out there while still ensuring that you're not kind of succumbing to your fear of irrelevance?
Well, I think it's not sitting back, and I made that mistake when we had the video company. That all 60 clients were all word of mouth. I never did any marketing, and I never did any outbound. I didn't blog. I didn't do anything. Didn't speak. I just sat back, and then the recession hit, and it was just gone. Everything was gone. Nobody was paying 10 grand for a glorified slideshow in Flash anymore, nor should they. And I just wasn't ready for it. I wasn't even prepared for that. It just caught me, it just blindsided me. And I realize now my job is to work it, is to keep going. So my job is consuming content every day, all day, of just reading and staying on top of everything to see where it's going. So when I'm asked, where do I think it's going, I can tell with an intelligent answer. So when I'm asked 3 years ago about Google+, I can say it's a waste of time and get ripped for it and still stand strong on it and know I'm right.
What about for SEO?
And that.
What about the SEO play? Like, Google Plus is perfect for robots.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And if you go to a networking event at a bar and all you speak in is keywords, you're not networking right. Like that's what I mean about Google Plus. If they say, well, it's good for SEO, then it's an SEO tool. It's not social media. Then use it for SEO. Plant your articles, put it on there, and use it for SEO. But don't tell me it's a social media platform. It's not. I get offended by people because you know why I get offended by these things is because we broke things again. Like freaking again, we broke things. We broke Twitter. We're doing our hardest to break Facebook. LinkedIn is a lost cause from years ago. Why? Because we want to monetize it. We want to scale it. We want to give me that ROI from it. When I loved the days. I'm going to sound old again. But I love the days when we used social media, but the term wasn't invented yet. When we talked online in common groups and common interests and likes, and we just called it talking, or forum posting, or chatting.
AOL chat.
Because nobody going on IRC. I was a member of the first ever online social media business site, which was called Rise.com, RYZE.com. I ran the Toronto hub of that. Nobody tried to monetize, and we tried to do this stuff. We just got together. We talked. We knew that if the more people we knew and knew of us, the better it was. And that's what frustrates me for 5-6 years now. And it's evidence written in books that are permanent so you can check it that we're going to break this stuff, and we have. That we're justifying scheduling tweets, that we're saying it's okay to do that because now I can scale things, and conversations aren't supposed to be scalable. Relationships aren't supposed to be scalable.
But it's because everybody's busy talking to people.
Yeah,
it's like if I shout loud enough, if I talk at people fast enough, if I make it within 15 seconds, then people will listen to me talking to them. And there's no scalable, corporate, easy, authentic way to converse with people because it's just too risky and unmanageable, and you can't prove an ROI.
This is why I always thought that businesses just shouldn't be on social media. I honestly believe it. It should be people. It's just people. It's just the way it's supposed to be. You can't scale it. You can't do a customer service thing with 20,000 customers on Twitter. Then don't. I just want to talk to people. I just want to connect with them. When I joined Twitter in 2008 and started talking, and then I really got into it, I connected more with people on music and sports than I did on marketing. And that's the way, and I'm still friends with those people. Like that's the way it is now. And I'm proud to be able to go into a Chapters Indigo and walk into the business book section and know half the authors. And I can call a lot of them friends of mine. And that's because of Twitter started all that for me.
Can I confess something? I do not get Twitter. like I maybe it's because I don't have friends in life. I'm not a, I don't know if you're into Myers-Briggs or not, but we talk about it a lot here. But I'm a personality type that doesn't really make friends. So I do not get Twitter. Like you can post stuff. I get that I can stalk people and see what they're posting. But like conversations and commenting, and that seems like a lot of work.
What's your Myers-Briggs?
I'm an INTP.
Oh, you don't get along with me. I'm ENFP.
Turmoil. Oh, you're
that guy.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the P again?
For perspective, not judging.
Oh, judging.
Pain in the ass or something. I don't know.
No, and then I'm a turbulent as well. So you add into that I don't manage stress very well. But yeah, like can you so you made lots of friends and they're awesome people and you love them on social media. It's just like I don't get social media. Even Facebook. I'm on Facebook very, very rarely.
Well, the thing is, Facebook is to talk to people from high school you never liked. LinkedIn is to talk to people you used to work with you never liked, and Twitter is to find people who will yell at you sometimes. But I don't like Twitter now. I liked it then. Again, I'm literally I should move this call to my front porch with a rocking chair.
Well, is that because you're an early adopter and you love the purity of things in its purest form and early, whereas I'm like a super not early adopter? Like you've mentioned this, what is it, Snapchat a few times? Is that something the kids are doing these days?
We have a guy in our office. We have one guy in our office who uses Snapchat, and he keeps showing us stuff and being like, we should do it. And we're like, no, I don't get it. I don't know.
I just don't get it.
No.
Part of being authentic is embracing the fact that I don't understand any of that stuff.
But that's okay. But here's where the problem happened, is that we made it not okay.
Right.
Like we made it, no, you have to be on here. No, you don't. You never do. Like my talks it's been amazing since 2010 when the first book came out. I started doing talks, and I haven't stopped doing talks since then. The change of what I've been saying in it, what the audience has needed. So originally it was, what is this social media stuff? What's going on? Why it's possible you should be on it? To then saying, okay, you're on it now, stop breaking it. And then now it's like, stop, just get off, don't go on it. And it's because of how it's been adopted in the world, especially in business. And it's just us marketers. We broke Pinterest. We broke Instagram. We do all these things. And the thing is that we can control. Like you're talking to a guy who's tweeted over 114,000 times, all manual, nothing scheduled, nothing synced, nothing automated. And the difference is I don't like it now. And that's because nobody wants to talk. They want to say. And that's where it's shifted to. And I get that. And it's been part of that. And I am part of that, where I wrote a blog post saying, I broke social media for myself because I started going to Twitter, just checking my mentions, just checking who's talking to me and replying to them. And I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm talking with people. I'm such a great engager. But I was never going out and listening to other people, what they were saying, and talking to them directly. I always waited for somebody to come to me because I'm such an important person on the platform that I'm like, oh, I'm talking to the public. I'm giving them some of my time, and you're welcome. I'm like the Pope standing at the pulpit of the Vatican and raising my hands and saying, talk to me for a moment, and I walk away. Like it's just not. That's not social media either.
And you know what? That's probably why I like I really love Reddit a lot. I'm not crazy active on it because I'm still worried about trolls and etiquette and misspeaking and all that stuff. But
I've hit the front page a few times.
That's awesome. But like what I like about Reddit is it's still algorithm based and there's been recent posts about why the fact it's not a true democracy and stuff. But they're pretty quick at pointing out and pulling down promotions, and it's like very gated. It's this is content that's worthy, and if it's a promotion or an advertisement, it has to be worthy. And I like kind of that purity versus, which is what when I started with Facebook, I only started with Facebook because someone said, hey, it's just like MySpace, but you can share photos a lot easier. And I was like, cool.
and nobody can change your cursor to a
cool. That sounds
comment or something.
That sounds awesome. And then it's just not like. There's no value for me to go onto Facebook anymore.
But and that's okay. And that's got to be okay. That's the biggest thing.
But as marketers, as content producers, we only have certain placement. We only have certain tools we can use for placement. And no one is courageous enough to create good content that will stand on its own. Very few people are courageous enough to create content in a corporate environment that will stand on its own, that will be good on its own. Everybody needs to boost it with placement or other things. So it's like, it's as you said, we're tearing down these social networks, turning them to ad platforms so marketers like us can place content there. That is saddening and depressing to me.
But you don't have to personally enjoy something to be able to do it for business. And that's the difference too. Is I always say that you don't want to ignore platforms because you don't like them yourself. It's just, do they make sense for your clients? And then you discover them. But Facebook's a different world as a business page than it is a personal page. And I don't think you have. It's just like the same thing about the analogy with the coach, and that you don't have to be me on Twitter, over 100,000 tweets. You don't have to be that guy to understand how it could work for a brand. You just have to have the knowledge of how to apply it. And like I love Facebook for a couple of reasons, and only more so in the past year, is I've culled my friend list. I went from like 4,700 and accepting every friend request because I was the social media guy and I'm supposed to. I culled it down to, I deleted like 3,000 people, all manually, all individually. A great way to do that, by the way. A great way to cull your friend list is by using the birthday notifications.
Oh, so through the course of a year, you're just like, oh, I don't like that person. I don't even know who that person is.
Jeff's birthday. I don't even know who Jeff is. Bye-bye. Happy birthday. You just take them off. So I'm down to like 1,400. And within that, every update I see is from somebody I'm actually interested in seeing, friends or people I've grown up with or people I've met that I want to stay on top of. And I love that. And the other side of it is private groups. And this is where I think LinkedIn dropped the ball and where Facebook works really well. I run a private speakers group called the Speak and Spill Mastermind. And there's 150 of us, and we're all people who are speakers. And it's amazing because it's just all the information exchanged, and you can vent and you get all this stuff. But the The community feel there is great. Half the members there say the reason they go is for that group. And that's what gets you going. And that's really what community is to me. Like-minded people sharing thoughts that help each other out.
I have a really similar thing, only with moms.
Right, but yes, but that was Allison's big thing. Her getting into social media is when the kids were born. Is it because you're there, you're home, and you want to be able to reach out to that community.
Yeah,
and that's what got her into Twitter and stuff. And that's Twitter. Here's the best thing: Twitter's where I met Allison. I have the greatest ROI in the history of Twitter. Right, I met my wife through there. I met
You're speaking emotionally and not financially, right?
Well, she's also helped make a lot of money for this.
Oh, okay, good.
She does all the work. Yeah. So emotional ROI and financial ROI. Everything.
Awesome.
It's just because because you connect with people, and she's the best result of all time.
So,
I was just gonna say, I just wanted to go back for a minute because I know that everyone's marketing strategies these days includes like a huge part of it is social media. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you're breaking it down for someone who maybe doesn't fully understand, like you're saying don't use social media, or this is how you should use social media to not be a about stuff.
I'm saying don't use it if you don't want to. Like I'm just saying is there's yes using it, no using it. Both are right answers. What do you want? What do you want to accomplish? Nobody says that now. They're like, should we use Twitter? Should we use Instagram? Should we use Snapchat? Should we use Facebook? Should we use LinkedIn? There's like 16 other ones I can use right now. Should we? Instead of saying, what do you want? What do you want to gain from this? Everybody has a limited amount of time and money. What are you going to do with that time and money? What are you going to do with those resources? If you dedicate 15 hours a week to using Instagram for your business, and that's 15 hours away from something else. And is that the plan? And then create a plan. And don't jump around like a Jack Russell frickin' terrier to platform to platform to platform. You confuse the marketplace, you confuse your customers, and you get nothing done. So I'm not saying don't or do. I'm saying if you're going to use it well. Use it right. If you're going to have a Twitter account, don't check it once every 3 weeks. Twitter is, you got to look what they're good for. Twitter's based in real time. Now, they might have wanted to change that a few weeks ago and try to change it to more of a Facebook feel to it, but Twitter's real time. The expectations of reply is in real time. There's a new book that just came out like 3 days ago. Jay Baer came out with Hug Your Haters. Fantastic book. And one of the things about its expectation of reply, and Twitter's really high. How quick, like if you guys tweet a company, you expect a reply in some form of time within a reasonable amount of time. If you have a Facebook page, then look at it, watch it. If you don't want to use it, don't. You can go through the rest of you can create a video production company and never personally be on anything on social media ever in your life. And you can create a really good company. Will social media help you? It can. But it's not on its own helpful. Meaning a phone. Having a phone, can that help your business? It could. Or it could be nothing, depending on what you do with it, which means social media is just a tool. It's just a thing. What you do with it is what matters. What you do with a phone matters. It's like me owning a camera. I am not a film producer. I am not a camera person. I'm not a person who does that. It's not my thing. Because I have a camera, I'm going to do well at it? No, it's not the thing. It's not the case at all. And so that's what we have to realize is they're just tools. And nothing on its own creates success in business.
Like companies shouldn't be afraid to not use something if it's not. Like, don't be afraid to not have a Twitter account if you're...
Right. I think what, like a few weeks ago, someone pissed me off, and I tweet under our corporate handle, so I'm really careful not to criticize people too much, because I always think, like, what if this is a future client? For sure. Like, if Tim Hortons pisses me off, what if one day they're like, hey, we want to work with you guys, and I'm going to be like, ooh.
Like, oh, what was that tweet there?
Yeah.
It's not only them, by the way, seeing it. It's other people seeing it and saying, ooh, they're bad-mouthing that company. What would they do to mine?
Right. So I'm really careful not to, but Netflix, Netflix messed up. Sometimes they mess up episode orders, and it's just irksome. Just bothers me. I hate to watch a show I like and go, oh, what are the people doing? Oh, that's a weird plot point. And then the next episode go, wait a minute, this is out of order. It like kind of ruins it. So I tweeted, I was like, hey, Netflix Canada, love you guys. Like, I think I was month 1 on it. So I've been on it for years. Love you guys, but it's really bothersome when things are out of order. And Didn't get a response. Didn't get anything. Didn't get a...
What was out of order? Your Fuller House episodes?
No, the Mindy Project season 4.
The Mindy Project.
It was the Mindy Project season 4, episode 1 and 2. And then the next day, Louis in our office watched him and goes, it was so confusing. I was like, no, they're out of order. And so,
Life
that's
is
fine.
tough, Mark.
But to your point, it's like somehow, it's not even justified for me, but somehow in the back of my mind, someone at Netflix Canada should have liked it or responded or done something. And you know what? It's weird that we have that expectation. Like we're you're there. Why wouldn't you respond to me?
Right.
But and I've until you mentioned it, I never even thought about the fact that subconsciously I expect someone to respond to me.
In a timely fashion too. Like I definitely
like maybe 2 days.
Oh,
like
with
1 or 2
Twitter,
days.
I feel like if they haven't done it in 6 hours, I'm like, what is their problem? Like they saw.
No, but
It makes it worse.
But that was 2 weeks ago, and they haven't done anything. Like
Right.
they didn't.
But here's the thing: if Netflix Canada didn't create a Twitter account, then you wouldn't have looked for that expectation.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
and
You just would have vented.
This is mine. I wouldn't have even said anything. I would have just because I go and look and see if there's an and I don't put the dot before it because I don't want anyone else to see it. I'm just hitting them straight up with it. But you're right. If there was nothing there, I wouldn't have thought of it. This is mind blowing to me because it's like if you're not willing to just respond to people, don't be there.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'd rather you not. And it's not even sarcastic. It's like not even trying to be flippant. I'm just like, if you don't want to, you're not going to use it, then don't. Please delete the account.
Right. Like we love Instagram. I love Instagram. We update stuff. We're not scheduled. We update stuff when it strikes us, when it hits us. Fairly regularly, maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week.
And most of it is like we do our life #life at FANTA. It's like personal,
it's fun
funny
stuff. It's great.
It's nothing is.
But we have like 120 followers, and I don't really care. That's enough. Like that. Like I don't like. We're doing it for us. We're doing it because we like it.
It's like my dad and
your dad, your husband.
my husband.
Yeah,
Your
pretty
5
much.
accounts you created.
Yeah, Kyle's mom. Pretty much friends and family like us.
Yeah.
But it's good enough for us. But we're there because we like it. And you know what? I was setting up an Anchor account maybe 3 weeks ago. Like the day it came out, I was like, I got to try this Anchor. This seems awesome. And I got halfway through the setup. So we have an account sitting there, but we haven't done anything because I just haven't figured out why I would spend any time on it.
Yeah, but that's the thing about the thing at Anchor. I jumped on it just to check it out as well. Their onboarding process is brilliant. I loved how it's set up. It was crazy cool.
Oh, with
awesome,
the phone,
good.
how they're prompting
Yeah.
you through things?
So good.
Except for I was sitting at a restaurant, which was
not
really
good.
loud, and I'm
not
like...
not a good place to do that.
Yeah, I'm like, do I want this being time printed for all eternity? Like, the
No,
people...
But then I hopped on. I listened for a second. I'm like, no, I have no use for this, and I deleted it. So the onboarding process was epic. I was so cool. Like I'm a huge geek, and I love the way they did it. And the onboarding changed when you put your phone to your ear and you put it down, and went to the next step automatically. Very cool stuff. Like I would add it to your phone just to try the onboarding of it, to get when you set it up, and then delete it. I don't need to hear rando audio clips from people who I wouldn't follow on Twitter. I didn't hear because I wouldn't even want to hear it in writing. It's just. It's amazing. And here's the thing about things like, well, what's the new thing? It's going to be this and this and this. And the problem is like people, when you put something on Twitter or something, everybody's text looks the same. It sounds different. You word it differently, but it's the same font. It looks the same. But audio and video, oh mama, it can look so different. And video is unforgiving. And so this goes away from audio from the app, but into a video thing like Snapchat, where I get why younger people use Snapchat because it goes away, it disappears and everything else. But there's people who can use it, and especially older people. It looks like my grandmother holding the phone down by her navel, looking down at it, and like, this is my video. It's just, video is the last thing you need to be using on your own as an amateur if you don't know how to do it, because it's so unforgiving and it can make your brand look bad. That's the problem with these new things coming out. You got to be careful because lighting and how it looks and how you look and people were more awkward on video than there is anything else. So I would leave that to the professionals.
I want to run one thing by you. I have a friend who proposes, and I challenged him because I didn't agree with it, but he proposed that if you have salespeople in your company, it is a crutch and a sign that you don't have strong enough customer service and value. Because if you had amazing customer service, and if you had raving clients, and if you had the very best work, you wouldn't need a salesperson. People would find you and people would come to you. And I was like, well, there's business and scalability, and you can lead gen, and you can turn it into, all this stuff. So, and I've heard arguments back and forth and back and forth. I think his point of view is pretty kind of bold, let's say, but you were speaking about the fact that you can do all of these things, and really at the end of the day, it comes down to value. Do you kind of agree with him at a certain level?
But the goal is, right? I think the thing about word of mouth is you can't control the speed of the words. How quickly people talk about you and send you things. And what is sales nowadays? What is marketing? It's really blurred now. And I just think outbound is important comparatively to inbound, but you do have to still create things to go into a funnel. That there's so much noise, there's so much competition, and there's so many people and companies out there that I don't ever think it's a problem having somebody going out there and if you are not happy with the current sales level, to go boost it, because you can't go force customers to tell others. There's only a certain amount of, depending on your business. If you have a business is B2B, so your customer numbers are lower than a consumer product company, you can't just go advertise tomorrow and get spiked sales away, then I think it is important, because it's about those relationships. And I do, like I said, I am a huge proponent of, obviously, of word of mouth and service, but I think customer service should be connected with sales. I think they should be together. Because that salesperson has a deep vested interest in that customer service side or client service side person, making sure they do their job and do their job great with the team. I think there can be a middle ground. I think that sales is important because it'll generate. It's an active generation, and word of mouth is passive.
Roland's our head of production here, so when it comes to like marketing strategy and philosophical things, he's just like, I have no idea what's going on. Your passion's more what? The technical side, Roland?
Technical things, talking to people one-on-one, social media, I don't know.
Yeah, you're not even on social media.
Sure.
Well, here's the funny thing, talking about that technical and production. I'll get you involved here. So,
awesome. People
think there's always just one thing. Always just one thing. So they listen to our show. We go into we rent a studio. We have a full soundboard and professional mics and everything else. And people then listen to the show. And they're like, ooh, what kind of mic are you using? Like that is the reason everything's... And mics obviously are very important, but like that's the one thing they're missing on their show. Mm-hmm. To go from 6 listeners to 6,000 is the microphone. Like it's the one thing. If we just got that mic, then that's actually what we're missing. Because people are like, as long as it's not our own fault, like the content or the show itself, it's the mic. Oh no, it's the cable. We didn't get the plated cable. That's what would be doing it. And it's like that for photography and for video. And it's like, oh wait a second, what filter are you using in that?
What camera do you use?
We have this argument. We have this argument so much because
what camera do you got?
I'm like, equipment doesn't matter. Just work it, like hack it and work it to the most amazing thing. And then if it holds you back, upgrade or change.
Yeah.
But if it's not holding you back, then master what you got to work with.
Oh, that's it, right? I rather people learn on a bad piece of equipment and have their talent created in the natural talent. I just think there's certain things that can't be taught. I don't think you can teach an eye to have an eye. I don't know if you can teach that. I think there's a natural part of that. I think there's a natural part of speaking. I think that when I see these courses about being $1 million speaker and you just need to do this, I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? Like, it's just not one thing to me. There's so many things behind the scenes and how it works. And it just amazes me. People think, well, it's just that you know how long it takes our audio guy to edit the show and to make it sound that well, but it's the microphone. Does that come in USB? Like, I'm just like, come on, people. You got to realize that for me, it's like I'm an overnight success of 15 years doing this. Like I've been building up to this point, my whole career, my whole life is to be where I am at now. And so when people say, it's just like for doing especially for things like photographers and something, where I feel so bad for people, for videographers and photographers who do things like weddings, especially nowadays, because it's like, I could do that on my phone. Why would I pay you this much? Like, you're not paying for the phone. You're not paying for the camera. You're paying for me and my 20 years building up to this. My skill, my 72 million photos I've taken already, the 4,000 videos I've already shot, so I don't do the mistakes from 1 through 4,000. And that's when I charge people to go speak somewhere, I do it for an hour, or I do an hour keynote, and it's $20,000. And they're like, $20,000 for an hour? I'm like, nope. It's $20,000 for 40 years.
So that was our conversation with Scott. If you guys want to find out more about him, just Google UnPodcast, Google UnMarketing, or you can reach out to him on Twitter at UnMarketing. You can check out his books. You can book him as a keynote speaker if you want.
Or you can find him on Snapchat.
You can find him on Snapchat. He's a big
I actually
fan.
don't know if you can. Can you? Oh, yeah, he said he feels like an old man on Snapchat. So.
Yeah, so he's there. But yeah, so Leah, what was the one takeaway for you from the conversation with Scott?
Just one takeaway. That the Disney cruise is almost more fun than going to Disney World, which I never would have guessed. I don't like cruises at all.
Oh, well, la-di-da. I've never been on a cruise. I'm surprised that you have that to compare it to anything. So you've been on cruises, have you?
Yeah.
Wow.
When
Roland, have you been on a cruise?
No, man. From the hood.
I've also been on a private yacht. Much better on the private yacht. I just have to say.
Rub it in.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so everyone
Wow.
on this side of the table.
Hashtag rich kids of Instagram.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it is. Have you never looked it up? It's just like ridiculously rich, like young people posting pictures of like burning money, drinking champagne on a yacht.
It's crazy. Anyway, I was super inspired by Scott to be more grumpy and angry with people. I think I'm going to do that. Roland, do you think I'm grumpy enough or what?
I'm too grumpy, but I think I'm on the right path here.
You have the right amount of anger level. You just don't verbalize it. You're not vocal enough about
Depends
it.
on the day, time.
You need to start preaching it, brother. If you start preaching it, then people will pay attention to you. They will come and kneel at your feet and say, talk.
I preach it to my
Is
people.
that a good Roland impersonation?
That was pretty good.
I preach it to my peeps.
I think my actual takeaway is that if you're going to be on social media and you're going to do it a crappy job, like don't do it.
Don't bother.
Don't
delete
do
your
it.
account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my takeaway is it's not called social media, it's talk to people, just like you do. Just use a different medium, but you're talking to people, try to engage with people.
Are you sure?
That's
Because
takeaway.
I thought your takeaway might be what the length of this table was. Because
you kept measuring
You
it?
measured it with that measuring tape.
I was
like
really
5
measuring the
times.
distance between me and Leah because I want to push it further away.
I feel like the distance between you guys is great. There's a chasm, an emotional chasm between you two right now.
You were actually measuring the distance between you and
Leah
Mark,
gets-
just so you know.
Leah
It's about
gets,
15 inches, yes.
Leah gets really upset when Roland comes on the podcast and then doesn't say anything. You didn't say anything during the whole interview.
I'm being authentic. That's worth a lot.
But after we're done, as soon as we're done this, you're going to say, okay, can we get to work now, people, or what? So if you're going to take the
I'm
time...
good.
if you're
I'm
gonna
good today, man.
If you're going to take the time to come on the podcast, shouldn't you at least say something?
I'm saying something right now.
What was your takeaway?
I already said
He
something.
did say a good takeaway.
I wasn't listening.
All right, so there we go.
Fair enough. All right, so now we have our new segment.
All right, our new segment is How Many Weeks Till Leah Has Her Baby?
As of yesterday, I'm 10 weeks away from the baby, and we only have
No, I
7
don't-
podcasts left. Seven,
Okay, that's what I'm more interested in.
7 weeks.
We have 7 weeks until podcast land goes into the unknown
Why?
It's
because
it'll-
we haven't onboarded yet a digital content
Why
producer.
don't we just go to the hospital?
Oh, do like a remote feed.
Yes.
Yes, we could podcast. I can bring the little Zoom recorder. We could podcast right
Yeah.
from the delivery room.
You guys could also just Skype me in. I'll go on my phone. And
Oh my goodness, will you do that?
yeah, sure.
We can get audio of you in
What
labor.
if I have the
You're gonna-
baby at like 2 a.m.? You guys are gonna do a podcast? You're gonna come
Yeah.
in
Sure.
and record?
Let's
Okay,
do
so
it.
my wife likes to share with people that I took conference calls in the delivery room, but like,
With baby number 4.
yeah,
So that's fair. Like you were there for 1, 2, 3. Just
I was
kidding.
still
That's
there.
awful.
I just picked up the line to say I can't talk right now. We're in the middle of having a baby. I think Roland, you called and I ignored a call, and then
That was
Oscar I
Oscar.
picked up. Yeah,
I did have like several. I feel like
contractions.
no, I had several conversations with you over like Skype.
Yeah.
When your wife was in labor, I was like, "What should I do about this?" You're like, "Yeah, I think you should blah blah blah."
Well,
But-
listen. There's no reason not to respond in a timely fashion.
you said that. You said that you weren't at the hospital yet when you were.
Oh, okay. Well, with Oscar, we were in the
You
delivery
were
room,
in the delivery room.
and the baby was born 12 minutes later.
Wait, was Roland producing something during the birth of his child?
Me?
Yeah. Did you take some client calls? Or?
No.
Mm.
Oscar took a client call from their first. We were supposed to drive out to Peterborough for a meeting, and he conferenced in from the hospital. And his wife was in labor. He conferenced in for the call, and then the next day his baby was born.
Well, the
His
day
first
off, I was like emailing everything, but we had our baby like 7:30 a.m. So at that point, everybody was still sleeping.
Okay, so that was our first update. What's our second
That was
segment
great.
again, Leah?
It was great.
It's the creative search for
the job
new
search.
Job search, yeah.
The job search.
Who are we
yeah.
hiring?
I don't know. I'm torn because Leah's responsibilities fall into. So let's put this out there. Leah's responsibilities fall into idea creation.
I think we can just
She
send
makes
it to
editorial
Russia.
decisions. She does copywriting.
We can find someone that's
She
trained to do
does
that.
posting, and you have to have a certain creative eye for Photoshop to create thumbnails and stuff. And then you produce
And you gotta
this
be really
podcast.
annoying.
So you have to come up with ideas and book guests, and then you have to edit the podcast and post
And
it
be
all.
really annoying.
So you need to be able to copyright and come up with ideas. You need to be able to do
Yeah.
technical editing a little bit and post things and make editorial decisions. I don't know.
You have to be willing to explain what you're eating for lunch every single day to Roland.
Why? Does he ask that?
Yes. We're coming over here. What are you eating? What's that?
She's
That's-
making it all up.
That's
a
not
lie.
that's not a real thing, is it?
No, it's a lie.
yes.
No, it isn't.
Leah, you're getting squeaky. You're getting
Yes.
very
If I'm at the
squeaky.
microwave in line, like, you have an apple. That's good. That's
Okay,
just
but today,
casual.
but
You've
today,
never come. You're gonna
Oh my
say
goodness.
right to my face right now that you've never come over to my desk to see what I was eating.
Leah,
for lunch.
Never.
Leah, you eat
Lies.
noteworthy things. So today, I even was like, hold on, you had an apple, 2 avocados, cheese, and something else on your plate, and I was like, that is weird. Like that's a weird combination
Yeah,
of
that
lunch
is what I-
foods.
I had
But then she
peanut
makes
butter.
fun of my meat and beans.
It's very Colombian. I said that
Listen.
the other day.
It's a good meal.
Just protein, all protein.
Well, Mark
And
uses
some carbs.
avocado and chicken, so I don't know about that.
Avocado chicken coleslaw. Yo! I'll tell you what I want. What
Creamy?
I really want. Some avocado and chicken and coleslaw.
Some cream? It's creamy.
No, I'm on my no sugar diet. No sugar sources.
Oh, man, maybe it doesn't have sugar. It's all egg.
Yes, it does. Dairy has sugar.
That was
Why did you turn into like such a gangster?
he all of a sudden the bunk from The Wire.
I don't know that reference, but
Yeah.
anyway,
From The Wire.
I've never watched The Wire.
It's from the hood. That's how
That's so weird. I feel like it's noteworthy that you have seen most of Fuller House but have not seen The Wire.
Fuller, are you actually watching that thing?
With my wife, yeah.
What's wrong with you guys?
It's-
Are you those
it's
kind of
really
people who are
bad.
like, let's watch what we used to watch when we were teenagers?
No, she never. That's the funny thing. I'm watching Full House with my little kids, and they love it. My wife will not watch Full House, the original, and she never watched it growing up. One, Fuller House is terrible. It is terrible. I have no interest in watching it.
So are you watching, was it Fuller House?
I'm
But
double screening
Full
it.
House with
So
your
I have my
little
iPad.
kids.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, so with that, again, I want to thank Scott for joining us. Leah, thank you
And
so much
Leah,
for joining
I know
us
you
in
like
the
your
studio.
apples, but I don't ask you every single time if you're eating apples.
Okay, but you
Okay,
asked me
All
a
right.
bit.
They're
I'm
having
hurt now.
They're having domestic now. Leah, thank
You
you for
asked
joining
me
us.
quite a bit.
Okay, Roland, thank you for joining us as well.
No, I don't, Leah.
Okay, and with that, we'll see you guys next week.
No one else is ever interested in what I'm eating, so I'm
I don't
going.
ask you what you eat. We talk. I ask you like once or twice. Like,
Oh
"Well,
my
that's-
goodness. Can you
what
guys
is
hear
it?"
what I got to deal with? This is what I got to deal with.
Ugh.